Hi everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. Today we're at Holmes Honda and we're going to do a head-to-head comparison between the 2023 Honda Odyssey and the 2023 Toyota Sienna. The Sienna has a base price of $36,885. The Odyssey for 2023 has a base price of $37,490. Not a big difference between those numbers. Obviously there are a lot of trim level differences between the two, and features and functionality. And there are a couple of major differences we're going to talk about here. The Odyssey was last redesigned for the 2018 model year. The Sienna, a little more recently, redesigned completely for the 2021 model year. From this particular angle, you can see that the windshields pretty much have the same slope line, but the front ends are definitely a little bit different where all of that is concerned. The front end on the Sienna more squared off. We have a little more rounded off look on the Odyssey. Now, the one thing that's going to be different about these two is when we see a full redesign on the Odyssey, we will likely see a little bit more squared off look to the front end. So you'll notice one thing right here as far as the overall looks of the exterior. The headlights are a little bit lower on the Odyssey. Both are LED. You also have the turn signals in two different places there, but both models look pretty good. A little bit maybe more modern look on the Sienna. The upper grille pretty much is non-existent. You have the lower grille, which is basically everything, a larger area on the lower portion of the front end. And then we have the upper and the lower grille with the Odyssey. Both do feature LED fog lights, and you're going to have a little bit of chrome and some brushed aluminum on each model. We're going to have turn signal indicators built into the side view mirrors here on the Odyssey, and it really depends on trim level what you have where all of that is concerned. I don't know if that's as big of a deal to most people as far as that goes. And you can see that both models from this particular angle both have the conventional style sunroofs, so some similarities where that is concerned as far as the overall exterior appearance. We'll take a look from this side just to show you some of the differences here as far as the front end goes, talking about how the Sienna is a little more squared off, maybe a little more aggressive looking. Tell me which model you think has the more modern look. And as we take a look from the rear, you're going to notice that you have a little bit larger rear window on the Odyssey. In my opinion, when driving each model, that doesn't really seem to make a big difference. It's just more of a look than anything else, a design feature. You will have the rear roof spoilers on each model. Both have a different look, but both definitely serve the same functionality. And the nice look on the taillights. Now, you will notice, at least in what is my opinion, that you will have a little more modern look on the taillights with the Sienna. But the main thing that we're going to have here that really means the most, features and functionality, more so than looks, let's talk about what's under the hood of each model. Now we get into the area where we start to see some differences between the two. What's under the hood? So let's talk about the Honda Odyssey first. It's the tried and true 3.5 liter Honda V6. It makes 280 horsepower. The torque numbers come in at 262, and it's mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, you can only get the Odyssey in front-wheel drive. And how about MPGs? 19 city, 28 highway, 22 combined. And Honda says you should use 4.5 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. If you want an all-wheel drive option, while the Sienna does come standard with front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive is optional, is available, but under the hood is going to be the 2.5 liter four-cylinder paired to 2 electric motors. 245 total horsepower combined between the electric and gas combination of what we have here. MPGs come in at 36 city and 36 out on the highway. Based on the way a lot of you tend to comment on my videos, I know the one thing you might go in favor with on the Odyssey compared to the Sienna is the fact that the Sienna comes with a continuously variable single-speed transmission. When it comes to towing, both models tow the same amount. They both come in with 3,500 pounds of towing capacity. You do have power rear doors available on each depending on trim level and depending on how you want to set things up. You can lower the rear seats on both. You can stow them away. And I've done this on just one side, but one of the reasons for that is because I wanted to show you that you do have the little storage bins that come for the rear of the Sienna, something the Odyssey doesn't offer. So it gives you a little bit of extra storage space. But the good thing about it is you can take those out and basically use this rear area where you would stow the rear seats for, well, cargo and whatever else you want to stow back here, or store back here, I should say, when the seats are in their upright position. Or you could do what we've done here and just put one down just for the demonstration purposes. Now for one of the big differences. 33.5 up to 101 cubic feet is what you have with overall cargo capacity with the Toyota Sienna. And with the Odyssey, cargo capacity starts at 32.8 and goes up to 140.7 up to 144.9 cubic feet. What is the difference? Why is there such a difference? It all has to do with this area on the Odyssey. You can fully remove the middle row seats, something you cannot do with the Toyota Sienna. But one thing you can do with the Sienna that you can't do with the Odyssey is slide these seats back and forth. Although the seats on the Odyssey in the middle row do slide back and forth to a degree, but not nearly as much as what we have right here. And while you cannot fully remove the middle row seats from the Sienna, you can move them around into a couple of different positions depending on your situation, what you need to do. So here is at least a couple of options that you have here, even though the seats do not come out of the interior. One big advantage here in the Sienna, I'm sitting in the rear seat area, or the third row, and you can see I have a ton of leg space. Any adult could sit back here and be very comfortable. Now, obviously, you can move these seats to a number of different seating positions. What's the difference like in the Odyssey? In the Odyssey, you can move these middle row seats forward quite a bit. When they're in their conventional position, I still have quite a bit of leg space back here. Pretty surprising. There is a lot back here. And so no matter what the situation is, rear seat passengers will actually find quite a bit of room. And here with the Odyssey, we're going to have the power side doors, so we can hit that button and close the door. The windows are power. There are privacy shades. We're going to have quite a bit of storage, rear seat pocket storage, several cup holders. And on this particular trim level of the Odyssey, obviously we're going to have the rear seat entertainment package. So that is also here. And then several options for connectivity. Much like with the Odyssey, the Sienna also has power doors that do open automatically and power windows on those doors. You also have the privacy shades as well, and air conditioning vents in conveniently located places. You can also control the settings back here with fan speed and temperature and everything in both models. Now you will have a little bit of a different look, but basically the same functionality with the rear of the center console. You will have the rear seat pockets. And one thing that you will find on both models will be the conventional size sunroof as opposed to a panoramic sunroof. We'll take a quick look around the interior of the Sienna. The more recently updated of the two, you do have the 90-degree touchscreen right here that works well, easy to use. No, it doesn't flicker like that unless you're looking through the lens of a GoPro. That's a common GoPro problem in certain lighting situations. But as you can see, everything easy to use, easy to learn. Nothing that's an overload on technology, at least not in my opinion. Here you have all the typical features and functionality that you would expect on one of these vehicles. Dual zone climate control, but unfortunately only heated seats here. We need ventilated seats as well. You also have several different options for USB connectivity, and ultimately this is your center console. These are the armrests, and you just reach down in there and get whatever you need, but you do have the option of having the lid down if you want it that way, and you can open that lid back up if you want to. Quite a bit going on here. You can conceal things away just to clean the look up with the cup holders right there. You also have another couple of options up here. Kind of interesting to see how that works. And the backup camera. You're not going to get a brand new vehicle in this day and age that does not have at least one camera on the vehicle. The backup camera is going to be there. It's a law in the United States. It was supposed to be there by 2020. Most car makers were ahead of that, just in case anybody was curious. And taking a look into the interior of the Odyssey, by the way, I will show you the Odyssey's sunroof right there. I told you it was there. I showed you in the Sienna. We'll give the Odyssey fair time as well. So taking a look around at the interior, here's the infotainment screen. It may look different and not be at the same 90-degree angle as the Sienna, but that doesn't mean that it's not easy to use and easy to learn. We're going to have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with both. That's a good thing. And then we'll go into reverse. And in this case, we have the multi-view rear view camera. And again, the issue with the kind of blinking on the screen that you see right there is the same thing as what we saw with the Sienna. So it's simply the issue of the shutter speed of the GoPro. And just a quick look around through the interior, most of the same features and functionality are here on both models. Some of the things you'll see here in the Odyssey, because it's a higher trim level, will make a difference. Just in case you are curious, you do have dual zone climate control, but once again, we only have the heated seats. The big difference here within this area of the vehicle is going to be found right here with the push button shifters. Some people like that, some people don't. It just depends on who you are and your personal preferences. By the way, one of the big differences here that we have is we do have a lot of space on both models, but you have a totally different setup with the center consoles. It's much lower here on the Odyssey. There is plenty of space down there, but you don't have it as high up. That's something I would like to see possibly change in the future when Honda redesigns the Odyssey. Not sure when we're going to see that happen. So we're going to start our test drive portion of the video with the Honda Odyssey. And I like to take this particular route because it gives us the opportunity in really kind of an overkill manner, but we get to listen to the road noise and the wind noise and everything like that. It is rather noisy because the road is so washboarded out, but it'll give you a little bit of an idea. Most of you are not going to be driving on roads that are quite this bad, but I'll let you listen for a few seconds anyway. And depending on who you are and what you're used to, you might say that's a lot of road noise, and you might say that's not too bad. Based on the fact that I drive this road regularly in a variety of different vehicles, it's really not too bad. I don't know what it sounds like in correlation between what I'm really hearing in real time and what my lapel mic is picking up. So just something to think about. I thought everybody would enjoy hearing that. It was roughly running around 65 miles per hour or so. That's the speed limit on this road during that portion of the video. The ride quality of the Odyssey for me seems to be good. It's fairly smooth on just about every road surface I've had it on so far, and enjoyable to drive, easy to drive. Now, being that it only comes in front-wheel drive, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on that. I know a lot of people have told me in the comments section on previous videos that you would like to see an all-wheel drive version of the Odyssey. Now, we're looking forward to a fully redesigned model. I'm not sure that we're going to get that for 2024. I can say definitively, finally, that the Odyssey is not being discontinued. There are a lot of rumors about that, but the reason for that is due to the fact that Honda hasn't said a word about what's coming for 2024 with the Odyssey. So I'm not going to speculate on what potential changes there may be. It would make sense that there would be some kind of changes, but we'll just have to wait and see. And as far as acceleration goes, well, even though my only experience here is with just myself in the vehicle, I weigh 175 pounds, so I'm not adding a lot of weight. If I had a full load of passengers, maybe a trailer on the bumper, 3,500 pound trailer, or maybe less, and some cargo, well, it would be interesting to see what that experience would be like. But I can tell you that The Odyssey definitely gets up and runs with no problem. I'm not going to demonstrate it today, but I do know that from a standing stop, if you floor it, it will chirp the tires just a little bit. So ultimately an enjoyable vehicle to drive. Plenty of space for driver, passengers, and cargo, as we talked about earlier, based especially on the fact that you can remove those middle row seats. So let's go back to Holmes Honda. We're going to switch out to the Toyota Sienna and see what the differences are with the driving experience. Okay, we're going to give the same experience as far as road noise goes with the Sienna that I gave you with the Odyssey, so I'll let you listen. So in my experience, actually being here and actually being able to hear this outside of my lapel mic that all of you are hearing it off of, I do have to say that the Sienna actually seems to have more road noise coming into the interior than did the Honda Odyssey. I will say that the ride quality is better with the Odyssey, but acceleration is better here with the Sienna. Kind of an interesting experience, but those are my takes initially on driving the two different vehicles. You still have plenty of interior space and cargo space, obviously not as much with the Sienna as you do with the Odyssey, but there's still plentiful cargo capacity back there. I don't know how many people would actually max that out. If you were going to use one of these vans as, say, a work van, kind of a multitasker, you could use it for hauling the family around. You could also use it as a work van to haul whatever you need to around, different supplies. There's a lot of different things you could do to kind of outfit it on your own, not necessarily with accessories available from Honda, but you could put in shelves and different things like that. The Odyssey would be better for something like that because you can completely eliminate the seating in the rear area right here, not only with the rear seats, but obviously with taking out the middle row seats as well. And you still have plentiful room with the Sienna. It's just not quite the same. But overall, as far as which model, well, let's see here. The acceleration is definitely a lot better with the Sienna, but you get that, what I would call the typical CVT experience, kind of that droning experience, and just the way the engine operates while mated to that CVT. For the average person, that may not be an issue. Some people might say, yeah, I don't really like that. I'd rather have the 10-speed of the Odyssey. It just depends on your personal situation, but both great choices. It just depends on a number of different checks or boxes you want to check off, depending on which minivan is best in your opinion. So tell me what you think about the two options on these two minivans. Obviously, there are other minivans available on the market. It just depends on what's available on the car lot where I'm shooting videos on what I can actually show you. If you are working to make a decision between these two, tell me which one you like the most and tell me why. Maybe there's some features and functionality you'd like to see maybe available on both that are not currently available on both. So tell me what your thoughts are. Gotta say a special thanks to my friends here at Holmes Honda for loaning me both of these models for the day, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch and give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and would like to learn about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.